travel experiences from around the world. Moscow, the largest city in Russia and one of the largest in Europe, with a population of over 11.5 million. The city is located in the west part of the country, along the Moskva River, a tributary of the Volga River. If I had to mention only 3 things that really made an impression on me during my stay, I would say the architecture, the expensive cars, and the gorgeous women. Everything here is big. Huge buildings, unbelievably wide streets, endless parks, and all of it beautifully structured on a flat ground. There are many sights to see, so you'd better plan well if you want to make it to the ones you really want to visit. There's nowhere better to start than at the city center and Red Square. Although people think that the name is related to the ex-communist regime, it's actually called Krasnaya Ploshad in Russian, which means beautiful square. At the south part of the square is the impressive church of St Basil, which really stands out. The color and the shape combination is very unique and seen only in Russian architecture. It consists of 10 chapels, the construction of which began in 1555 by Tsar Ivan the Terrible and lasted for 6 years. Legend has it that Ivan blinded the architect Postnik Yakovlev when he finished the project in order to prevent him from designing something else more impressive. This is most likely a myth, seeing as there is evidence which shows that he got hired again 25 years later to build the 10th and last chapel, the one of St Basil. A ticket to enter the temple costs 250 rubles, or about 5 euros. The Kremlin, which means fortress, is located on the west side of the square, and it's the oldest part of the Russian capital. The most important architectural feature is the exterior wall and the 20 towers, which, despite being constructed in 1485, has been kept in very good condition up until now. The Kremlin covers an area of 275 acres, and inside it has temples, museums, palaces, and beautiful gardens. Entry is allowed to the public from 9 AM to 6 PM, and the ticket price is 350 rubles, or about 7 euros. In front of the Kremlin, in Red Square, lies the Mausoleum of Lenin. Opposite the Kremlin is the famous mall Gam, which hosts only shops of internationally famous brands. The name means Main Universal Store, and took its current form in 1893. Prices here are very high, but even if you aren't looking to shop, it's worth taking a stroll through to admire the architecture of the building. To get to the square by metro, you should take line 3 and get off at Ploshad Revolutsii station. To get to the Kremlin entrance, which is at the back side of the square, you should get off at Alexandrovsky Sad station. Just in front of the Kremlin's entrance, and at a length of over 800 meters, is Alexander's Garden, which is a nice place for a stroll. It was named after the Tsar Alexander I, who ordered its construction after the Napoleonic Wars. One thing that I really liked about Moscow was its parks. The most famous one is Gorky Park, and is located in the city center, along the Moskva River. It spans over 300 acres, and here you can see people enjoying many recreational activities, as there are various sports fields, areas for walking and cycling, games and playgrounds, and even sandy areas for sunbathing, among many other things. The park first opened in 1928, but in 2011 it was redesigned from scratch. Admission is free, and if you visit during the weekend, as we did, it will be very crowded. The park is located between Kultury Park and Oktyabrskaya station on Line 5 of the metro. The second park that we visited was Izmailovsky Park, which covers a large area of 15 square kilometers. It is filled with rich greenery and small ponds, making it ideal for walking, picnics, games, and even boating. To get there, you have to take Metro Line 3 and get off at Partizanskaya station. Next to Izmailovsky Park is a theme park called Kremlin Izmailovo. It's a place filled with wooden houses modeled after ones in fairy tales, so kids will definitely enjoy it. The park also has a marketplace where you can purchase souvenirs, as well as a vodka museum. As you can imagine, museums in Moscow are in abundance. Due to a lack of time, we chose to visit only the Astronaut Museum. It is located next to the All Russia Exhibition Center and stands out from afar because there's a huge titanium spire on the roof which stands at a height of 100 meters. Constructed in 1964, it was to honor the conquerors of space after the launch of the satellite Sputnik 1. The exhibits are rather impressive and include authentic items such as Yuri Gagarin's spacesuit and models of engines and spacecraft as they evolved throughout history. Admission is 200 rubles, or about 4.5 euros, and to get there, you have to stop at VDNKH station of Metro Line 3. If you want a nice panoramic view of the city, you should visit the TV Tower, which stands at a height of 540 meters, the tallest in Europe. It is open to the public every day from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., and the whole tour lasts 1 hour. The entrance to the open upper level costs 980 rubles, or about 21 euros, and the closest station to the tower is Telecenter on the upper metro line. It's definitely worth taking the boat trip on the river, as it will take you through a large part of the city. It takes about 2 hours and costs 600 rubles, or about 13 euros. During the summer, service is from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., and you can buy tickets at the dock where you board the boats. The closest metro station is Kievskaya, which connects with lines 3, 4, and 5. While on the river, you'll see a huge statue 98 meters tall, which was built in honor of Tsar Peter the Great I. The statue was included in the top 10 ugliest statues in the world. One emblematic feature of Moscow is the Seven Sisters. Construction on these 7 skyscrapers of Soviet Baroque architecture with Gothic elements began in 1947 and was completed in 1953 during the Stalinist period. Stalin, in his effort to modernize Moscow in order to look more like Western cities, used American technology to build these aesthetically controversial buildings. Today, the Seven Sisters hosts hotels Ukraina and Leningradskaya, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Moscow University, law firms, and apartments. Another popular attraction in the city is the Cathedral of Christ the Saviour. It is located southwest of the Kremlin and is actually the tallest Orthodox church in the world. It was originally built in the 19th century, and construction lasted 40 years. In 1931, Stalin demolished it to make space for the colossal Palace of the Soviets, which was never to be built. The church was finally rebuilt in 1990, just as it was before its destruction. Moscow is home to one of the most famous theaters in the world, Bolshoi Theater, where you can see an opera or a ballet. It is located in the city center behind Red Square. Since we had read about it in most travel guides, we had a coffee at Cafe Pushkin. It has the style of an aristocratic house of the 19th century and is one of the most popular restaurants in Moscow. To go there by metro, you take line 7 and get off at Pushkinskaya station. Seeing as I've mentioned the metro throughout this video, you should know that it is one of the most important sites of Moscow. This is because when development started in 1935, Stalin used many materials from demolished temples in the construction of the stations. Thus, many of the stations resemble museums and have impressive statues, mosaics, paintings, and marble floors within them. Today the metro has 194 stops and you can reach almost anywhere in the city with it. The ticket fare costs 99 rubles, or about 84 cents. However, it's best you plan your routes in advance so as to get one multiple route ticket, which is cheaper. I was surprised at the fact that we didn't have to wait more than 2 minutes at any station for the train to arrive. If you have time for a stroll, it's worth visiting the pedestrian street Audubon, which is located in the historic center of the city. The first records of this road appear in the 15th century, and in its span of 1 kilometer you can find cafes, restaurants, and many artists exhibiting their artwork. As dining is an important factor of my trips, I can say that the restaurants we tried in Moscow were very good, paying on average from 20 up to 25 euros per person. We tried Japanese, Ukrainian, Georgian, Caucasian, and of course Russian cuisine. On tripmint.net, you can see the names and locations of the restaurants listed. We stayed 5 days in Moscow and walked more than 35 hours. It is a city that you will want to explore, so it's better to visit in the spring and afterward, because winters here are very cold. Also, due to the northern location of the city, it gets dark at around 11 p.m. during the summer months, giving you plenty of daylight at your disposal. One problem we encountered, however, was that nobody except hotel employees spoke English. This of course made communicating with the locals very difficult, but by smiling and being in a good mood, we succeeded in most cases.